Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. It's Tola Akindele from Tola Talks, and in this video I'm telling you how K-dramas got me into Cambridge. Yes!
Cambridge? K-dramas? What? How? Why? When? Who?
Let me tell you, boo. But first, let me take a sip of my water. First of all, what are K-dramas? K-dramas, or Korean dramas, are television series, or in my case, Netflix series, a shout out to Netflix, that are based in South Korea, and they depict Korean life, whether that's work life, school life, love life, and it's all in the Korean language, and they're literally just amazing. Like, you should just watch them. So what's the relevance? I spoke about how your degree choice doesn't necessarily have to determine the career path you go down, and I mentioned a little something about standing out. Well, that's what this video is all about. Okay, take me for example. I'm currently studying a vocational course at the University of Cambridge in strategic business and management to aid with my career progression. So a vocational course isn't necessarily a graduate course or a master's. It's something that people do when they're already in the workplace and they just want to aid their career progression. Because you know, we're all about that personal and professional development over here. Yes. Back to the point. So I work in the investment banking industry, investment management industry, and in terms of my role, it's usually within the HR business area or the graduate recruitment space. So that means it requires a lot of communication and also on a global level. So when I did my application, these were some of the things that I spoke about. My interest in K-dramas in my spare time aids my cultural intelligence levels because it just allows me to have a better appreciation and sensitivity for different cultures, such as the South Korean culture. And not only that, am I able to also pick up some of the language, which, do you know what, guys? I have. Trust me, if you watch K-dramas, you're just going to pick it up. Like, you're just going to be able, like, you're just going to be speaking Korean. Like, you don't even realize you're doing it. 안녕하세요. 감사합니다. 안녕. 하지만. Yeah, so in my application, I basically started to talk about, you know, the different benefits that I've gained from watching this in my free time, especially because in one of my jobs, a lot of my clients were Korean. So it just kind of, like I said, increased my levels of cultural intelligence in that area. And I was able to talk about learning more about the Korean culture, especially because a lot of the K-dramas are based on real historical events. I get a better understanding on their way of life, how they behave in certain situations, in the workplace, how they do work. And something that, you know, we even have in the workplace are things called lunch and learns, where I've attended some of these things, and they're basically training sessions, internal training sessions. And one of them was about, you know, the culture differences. And it's good to kind of have a better understanding of how colleagues from different cultures work, because like I said, a lot of the time you're working in global companies and you are going to have somebody sitting in the Hong Kong office or the New York office or whatever, and if you don't really know, or if you're not familiar with, you know, what seems normal in their culture and especially their approach to work, that's where clashes could happen. So it's really beneficial to have a really good understanding of the different cultures that you'll be liaising and communicating with. It's just that willingness to learn is what employees like to see, or is what institutions like to see. And because I'm demonstrating that willingness to learn, it shows them, or it proves to them, that I'm also willing to do that in terms of the course. So everything's about relevance. Whatever you do in your free time, how it can still be related and reflected into your place of work or your place of study. And that's what it's all about.
With my most recent employer, I was renowned for being able to motivate, mobilize, and coach my fellow colleagues to meet high performance standards. I believe I would also be able to demonstrate these skills while studying on the course at Cambridge, especially when undergoing group work. I can easily work well with others in a professional manner while attempting to achieve a common goal, and would like to highlight my key strengths in areas such as being relatable, adapting to my surroundings, and being able to interact easily with people regardless of age, gender, and culture.
So that just gives you a snippet of how it's all relevant, putting that all into the application. When I talk about how, you know, I'm able to communicate with so many different people, different cultures, and all that kind of good stuff. And then I bring it back to group work and how that will be demonstrated well on the course. that is what they want to see. It's no good saying that, you know, I do that and I do that, but then what's the relevance? You still need to bring it back. It's the same with transferable skills. You could have so many skills under the sun, but if they're not really relevant to where you're about to go, then it's kind of like redundant. So relevance is the key right now. Yeah, your take-home message for today is relevance is key. My next point is that, you know, I get a lot of students or mentees who come to me, they ask me to review their cover letters or to review their personal statements, and they feel bad and low because they feel like, you know, they're not really doing anything interesting enough. But then I always try to encourage them that you are always doing something interesting, even if it feels so small and little and irrelevant to you. Trust me, all you have to do is just fluff it up. Fluff it up. I said it in my last video. Add a bit of sauce, add a bit of Maggi cubes, add a bit of pepper, whatever your flavor is, fluff it up. Nobody's saying lie out here. Like I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying lie. Let me just get that straight on the record. Like, I'm not saying lie about what you've done and lie about your achievements. I'm just saying accentuate what you have. There's beauty in everything that you do. Like I said, if you dance, if you sing, if you play an instrument, if you play sports, don't just limit it to doing it at after school club or, you know, from time to time. Do it regularly so that you actually grow fond of this thing and it becomes something, it becomes a part of you, because trust me, these things go a long way. It can't always be academics. That is not what employers want. I'm here to tell you today, it's not only about the academics, okay? Yes, that is very important. That's a very, very important thing, the academics and the experience side, but also employers want to know who you are as a person. Another thing I mentioned in my last video is that it's people who are running these businesses. We haven't got to the stage yet where it's robots taking over. It's still people. So employers are looking for real people, and they want to know that they can trust you, that they understand you. They just want to know what you're all about. In the interviews, that's their way of finding these questions out. With education, there's proof via transcripts or certificates and qualifications that they can see, you know, your abilities. But when it comes to who a person is, there isn't really proof other than you telling them who you are, and that is what they want. They want you to tell them who they are. And the thing is, they don't necessarily ask you these questions straight. They don't say, oh, tell me what you do in your free time. They'll ask you a bunch of competency-based questions, and from your answers, they'll try to deduce who you are as a person. But what are competency-based questions? So these are your, tell me about a time you had to overcome conflict. Tell me about a time you worked under pressure. Those are your competency-based questions. And the truth of the matter is, they don't really care about the time you overcame conflict or anything like that. They just want to know who that person was in that situation, and can they see that person in their business. Whenever you go on a website, you're always going to see a page where they talk about their values, their core values, their mission statement. Now, you know, some companies, they just put it there for the sake of having it, but other companies, they truly live and breathe these values. So they want to know when they're interviewing you that you are a right fit for their company culture. And that's what it is. Mic drop. It's not rocket science out here, guys. It's really not. All I can tell you guys is, please, please, please do not put your interests and your extracurricular activities on a back seat. An example I'd love to share with you is, in one of my old jobs, I had a friend who was actually on the grad scheme, and she was talking to me about her interview process. She had to do a presentation, and she was presenting the rise and fall in gas prices, I believe. And alongside that, she's also a singer. She's not a professional singer, but it's of great interest to her. It's something that she does in her free time, that she loves to do. In her interview and in her presentation, to show and demonstrate very clearly the rise and fall in the oil gas prices, she was using that by singing. She was singing. She was doing, you know, the high notes, the low notes, all of that kind of stuff. And I mean, I'm not going to try and do that, because I just need to respect myself and understand that God did not bless me in that department. So I'm not going to sing on YouTube for you guys, but you get the gist, yeah? And the fact is, it was relevant. She was displaying clearly in a creative way the rise and fall in the gas prices that she was presenting. So that's a typical example of how you can truly just bring your interests, your talents to life in the workplace, literally in the interview process. You want to leave knowing that you left a mark and that you're going to be remembered. Hopefully it'll be that you're remembered for good things and positive things. Another example would be if I was to apply for a job now and I said, Oh yeah, well, do you know what? I've recently started a YouTube channel where I talk about lifestyle, education, and my passion for dancing. And I like to, reach out to different people, share tips and encourage them on different things that they can do to progress in life, whether that's personally or professionally, blah, 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 blah. That already looks good because it's like, oh, okay, wow. So, she's taken the time and energy to set up a YouTube channel. She makes videos, she's creative, consistent with her content. She's not afraid to talk in a camera. She can articulate herself. She's confident. Those are different things that they would get just from me saying, this is what I do. And that is what makes you stand out. Not everybody has a YouTube channel. By all means, start a YouTube channel. I subscribe to you if you subscribe to me. I do hope that's been helpful. I hope it's giving you an idea of the kind of information that you can be putting in your applications as long as it is relevant. All right, guys, that brings me to the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. If that's so, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe. And then feel free to drop a comment if you have any questions for me. I'm more than happy to answer. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Love you. 안녕히 가세요.